Whoa. Hold on. Where'd it go? Drop my pen. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest tonight is a congresswoman from New York's 14th District, representing parts of Bronx and Queens. Please welcome back to The Late Show, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
My gosh. Thank you.
I think that means you should visit more often.
Yeah, it seems that way.
It's been a while since we've had you here. Nice to see you again.
Yes. In fact, today is actually, we just realized, is the 4-year anniversary since I was here the very first time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Right after I won my primary.
Not much has happened in the last 4
all.
years. Okay, this is an auspicious time for you to be here. We didn't actually know the hearing was going to be today when you originally agreed to come on the show. Explosive hearings today. Did you have a chance to watch the hearings today?
Yes, I did.
What is your immediate, if you don't mind me phrasing it the way, what's your immediate emotional takeaway from what you saw today? Because it was pretty stunning.
Well, I mean, I think it was just stunning to understand and see the detail and the depth through which there was also just a conscientiousness of guilt. They knew that what they were doing was wrong. When at the very end of this hearing, you hear that Mark Meadows, the chief of staff to the president himself, asked for a pardon because he knew that he was breaking the law in order to seize power and undermine democracy in the United States of America. It is stunning. It is absolutely stunning. And that the president himself was willing to choke his own Secret Service in order to do so.
Do you know the detail about that I like is that he goes to grab the wheel, and this is how long it's been since he's driven himself anywhere. He thinks you can drive from the back seat.
Yeah.
He forgot about the pedals and all that.
Yes.
Well, let's get into that pardoning thing for just a second. Let's a little bit backwards here, but we learned last week that many members of the House of Representatives from the Republican side and some members of the staff asked for pardons. As somebody who was there on January 6th, what is your reaction to finding out that there is this consciousness of guilt? Because legally, if people may not know, is that it's not just sort of a term of art. To get a pardon, it is an admission of guilt.
Yes, it is. And I think there was also an awareness when all of this was going on. There was a feeling and a great sense that there were people on the inside. And we learned last week that there were one, if not more, several members of Congress who brought in some of these insurrectionists to essentially case the joint before coming in the next day. And to work with people over the last year, to see them, to have sometimes them confront you, knowing that they did what they did has been quite surreal, especially when they're not very intelligent.
Thank God. That's the saving grace of their malice, is how incompetent they are. Now, we also learned about, as you said, this was premeditated in that it was pre-considered that this would be a violent event.
Yes.
And the president did not care, knowing that you can let the people with the weapons through the magnetometers. It doesn't matter to him because he knows that they're not angry with him, that they're going to use these weapons against members of Congress. Specifically, some of them were looking for you that day.
Yeah.
Now, do you imagine that any of these people who are being named as these conspirators within the White House or even within the Congress, do you imagine there's going to be reasonable consequences for them? Do you imagine there's actually going to be any jail time here?
Well, I will say, bare minimum, those who specifically sought pardons for themselves should be expelled from the United States House of Representatives beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Because specifically, because in asking
Yes, because if you are a duly elected official and in seeking a pardon, as you mentioned, you are consciously committing, you are admitting to committing a crime. What that means is that they were willing to commit crimes in order to illegally seize power. And no person of any power and of any seat, of any party, should be willing to do that in order to undermine our democracy. But that's just the bare minimum. I do believe that many of these individuals need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law in order to establish and to prove to ourselves and to the world that there is rule of law in the United States of America.
Now, Representative Cheney today, at the end, is kind of like a very interesting little cherry on top of all of this, read into the record some testimony, without naming names, testimony of witnesses they've already had that said that they received pressure from people within the former administration that a certain person was watching their testimony and knew that they were giving testimony and knew that they were, you know, you're a good guy, I know you're loyal, you'll do the right thing and you'll stand firm, which is witness tampering.
It is.
Even the attempt to do that is a federal crime. I only like pointing that out just because it makes me happy to know that someone else might go to jail for their evil deeds. But does it sting at all to be grateful to Liz Cheney?
You know...
Because it burns a little going down for me. Because I am grateful, because this is how politics should be.
Yes.
You can disagree on any kind of policy, but in the end, you want there to be a United States.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I agree, and I do believe that what is so important is that we do lift that up, and that this is not happening because an individual is a Democrat or an individual is a Republican. This is happening because we are U.S. citizens who believe in the integrity of our country and the integrity of our laws. And there are some things that are more important than politics, and some things should not be partisan. And protecting our democracy should be something that every single one of us, no matter the party, should be committed to.
We have to take a break, but when we come back, I will ask the Congresswoman what actions she would like to see Congress take in the wake of the Supreme Court overturning Roe. Stick around.